Hello and welcome to my podcast, Become. My name is Sabine Kvenberg and I am your host. The content will inspire you to reach your aspirations and become the best version of yourself. I feature interviews with successful individuals from various industries delving into their personal and professional journey, how they overcame adversities and the strategies they used to achieve their goals. We have to become the person we are meant to be first, so we can live the life we are destined to live. That also means we must overcome challenges and work through difficult times to learn, grow, and become the next, more fabulous version of ourselves. I'm so glad that you're here. Let's get on this journey together. Welcome, everybody. I am so excited about my guest today. And let me see if I can say her name correctly. Inesa Ponomario Vaite. Am I saying it correctly?
Yes, you sounded just like Lithuanian.
Oh, I am glad that I did. Before we go into your story, I would like for you to give our audience just a little background what you do right now.
My biggest passion, what I feel like I'm really good at it, is helping people transform their health. And I also developed first biological products on the market, hemp products that are completely different and against basically entire mainstream product industry. And in what else I do, I'm humanitarian. So my free time, I just help people. And Friday nights, I just hold to the shelters and try to help people and try to empower people to leave the streets and things like that. So yes, my big heart leads me on free time to help people, and on a daily basis I just help people to be super healthy and also providing cleanest and safest products on the market.
You are a great example for people to understand when you have that serving heart, you are in your zone. You live a fulfilled life, but it has not been that simple. And you went through quite a hardship, starting with your when you were just a child. So let's start there. When you were a child, first of all, you were sick, and then you all of a sudden had to take care of your siblings. So take us back in time where you faced your first challenges.
Because we lived back home in Lithuania, and that time we're still under Russia, so things were not easy. So it wasn't easy to get simple things, and since my mom had a desire to do best things for us, so she had to kind of sacrifice a relationship. And never going to forget when she asked us, is like, do you guys want to have more in life, but I'm not going to be home, like where you can have a toy, nicer clothes, and go on like activities, so I can provide these things for you, or you want nothing but I'll be home? And of course, as young kids, we chose to have everything. And that means mom is going to be gone. And that time I didn't know what I'm signing up myself for. I was too young to understand. So, of course, and my mom used to leave for a chunk of time from Lithuania, and I used to take care of my siblings, which is in very young age. I had to become basically a mother and take care of my younger brother and my younger sister. So I was a full time taking care of them, going myself in school, weekends, taking care of the house, cleaning, deep cleaning, cooking. And
How old were you?
the first time my mom handed me my sister and my brother for like a couple 3-4 days at the time, so that was I was 12 years old.
Wow.
Yes. And summers my mom used to come back, so and stop her traveling. So summers I used to go work in this farm, like almost 24-hour circle, which is like finished picking up the berries at until midnight, and in the morning at 5 you have to get up and go sell these berries on the market, and then come back again in the farm and pick new berries for the next day, 5 o'clock in the morning. So Summers I worked really hard on the farm, never seen a sandbox myself or even, the daycare. None of those things were what children normally see. So I think, again, it was a little bit tougher childhood, but I'm definitely not regretting any of that stuff.
That's first of all so important what you just said, not regretting anything. And I believe that the hard work also paid off later on for you, because you just learned that if you work hard, you can achieve something, you can get something. Now, besides that, you were also very ill when you were a child.
Yes, and that's for the same reasons, because we didn't know any better. And especially now that I know so much about human health and what causes and things like that. So, what happened is I just had so many UTIs because the shoes I was wearing, they're not warm enough. So, it's always like a wet and rainy and cold. And my feet were used to get cold all the time. And I'm like walking almost not the barefoot, but like definitely like with the wet feet inside my shoes, and that caused me constant reaction to my bladder, UTIs and kidney infections. So I had a lot of issues, and my mother didn't know any better, so she was just taking me to the doctors and pumping me with antibiotics. And these
Mm.
antibiotics just eventually I became resistant to them. So from the moment I became resistant, antibiotics no longer helped, and that mutated to multiple other issues, including my lung infections nonstop. I mean, I was just walking sick.
Now, move forward. As a young adult, you eventually ended up in the States. How did that happen?
Yeah, I was, because I was very hard worker and I always liked to have justice. So I was eventually age 18, no, 19, I'm sorry. I moved myself outside my country, not my country, my city. So I moved to the college, and I was just working in like a restaurants and as a wait, just helping people serving the food. And but what happened is, because I saw someone actually stealing money and I didn't like it, so I picked and collected all the evidence from the managers that were stealing money from the owners. And within 3 months, I was able to collect so much of evidence, all the money they stole from the owners. And eventually, I said, I'm sorry, but I have to tell you, the person you trust the most is stealing your money. And I just wanted justice because I felt bad for the family, that they don't know what's happening behind the scenes. And because I used to work 14 hours a day, 16 hours a day, what happened is I was able to see. And from the moment I exposed that, these owners didn't trust the managers anymore, and they promoted me to be a manager. And I never,
Oh.
that was never my intention. I was such a young girl, and I'm like, I still have a college, I still have so much to do. And I'm like, I can be a manager and then work additional couple more hours. But at the same time, I was very happy. So that led me to extra finances in my life. And I would say give me more freedom to travel and do things. So of course I was able to come to United States because I just love to travel. And when I came to this country, I met someone that he madly fell in love with me. And of course, situation, it was like a Cinderella kind of type of story, but ended a little bit differently. Instead a happy ending, it was pretty sad ending where it put me back to the street and homelessness and things like that. But I'm still grateful for that relationship, because if it wasn't for that relationship, I wouldn't be here today. So god
Ah,
god
yeah,
knew.
and yes, I have to chime in because this is another golden nugget, and I like how you spread those beautiful golden nuggets of wisdom in there. Well, the first one, let me go back. Becoming that manager, you didn't do this to become a manager. You did do the extra steps to just help someone to get justice. That's what we do. That's how we move forward to doing it um, for different reasons, right? And then the next thing, what you said was, even though it wasn't a happy ending of the Cinderella story, but I am still grateful. for this because it led me where I am today. And listen, for so many people that I interviewed on this show, the part where it became hard and when they started embracing it and being grateful, and sometimes you have to look back in hindsight, but sometimes you see it right away, that thank you, universe, for giving me this experience. And we're not calling it problem anymore, we're just calling it life experience, because now I'm stronger, now I can move forward. And this is exactly what you did, right?
I would never change the inch or minute of my life. And people say, how you even still can smile with so much trauma you went through? I said, that's the reason I smile. I mean, because I know what I had to go through. And I know exactly why God designed me to go through these situations, because when I came to United States, I was from this small little country. All what I did worked and helped my family and did whatever I can, in my whole childhood and young teenage years. But that being said, I was raised in very like military kind of type of basic rules, which is if you lie, we'll cut your tongue. If you steal, we'll cut your fingers. If you cheat, we're gonna throw you in the garbage can. So I didn't know these lies or things existed. And what happened to me personally, God knew that I have a big heart. And He knew with these values, if I'll assume no one ever lies, no one ever steals, and no one ever cheats, then life is going to really take advantage of me. And then I can be pretty bad situation. So, but with that being said, He gave me a few very strong lessons and say, this is what the real world can look like. And I want you to be strong. That's it. And that's exactly what I did. He said, you keep your beautiful heart, but at the same time, learn how to protect it. And that's how I see these lessons. I don't see as anything else. I see as now I know how to protect my heart and I know how to be strong. And that's what I said. I would never, ever change anything from my past.
This is such great wisdom that you spread. Now, with your big heart, you started a company that helps people to get healthy on a natural way. So how did that came about? Because building a company of that magnitude, what you do now, is not an easy task. So guide us through the process.
When you said it's not an easy task, I clearly had the goosebumps on my body, and I just imagined a lot of punches on my face. When you said that, that's exactly what I saw. So it is not an easy, but it's a beautiful one, and it's very rewarding. But I'm happy to share how I started. I think, with that being said, as you remember, I mentioned I was very, very ill, and after my ex and my relationship, I even ended on the street, and my identity was basically halfway stolen, and I couldn't prove who I am. I had to go through major struggles. But again, it was just the life lessons, because I've been targeted by human traffickers. The people supposed to help me and protect me are the ones doing the dirty work behind the scenes. So, with that being said, I had to learn all these things are here functioning on this earth so I can be strong, right? So, with that being said, my health wasn't doing well. I was really bad to the point where I couldn't leave emergency rooms. I was just spending all my few dollars that I had in my pocket, everything I could, in going to emergency rooms because I had no insurance. I had no way to prove who I am. Like, I had no status in this country. So, it was hard for sure, but it made me who I am today, so I'm grateful. But with that being said, after being 1 year medicated on steroids and going back in emergency, I started putting 2+2. And I'm thinking, okay, let's think about this. Like, okay, I'm going back to these doctors. I'm spending all my money and things are not getting better. Things are getting worse for the long term. So, and I'm gotta be something. And I simply started looking things around instead following every single thing what the doctor said. I start looking what else can I do, and I started learning about nutrition. And from the moment I learned from nutrition, that led me to more information and how important it is to have a clean water and juicing and things like that. So I kind of got hooked because I saw just by changing a few things, right, I saw major improvement. And I said, if that's what it takes, I'm just going to go fully in. So, and I did. I went fully in. I changed completely my diet, my lifestyle, my sleeping cycles, everything, including giving up the negative people in my life and focusing of who I am as a person. What's my purpose in life? What do I need to do here? So that led me within 1 year a full transformation. That led me to that, from being miserable for minimum 15-20 years to very, very healthy person where I don't even know what the flu is. If I get the flu, it's gone because my immunity is so strong. So it kind of planted the seed and I kind of loved it, but then it wasn't enough to go fully in to help other people. It was like a passion of mine and I really liked it, and I would share with other people the knowledge and things like that, but it wasn't enough. So when I really got my life settled and I went through all these very complicated, strong and heavy duty processes of my life, from homeless and physical abuse and mental abuse and human traffickers trying to target me and being miserable in my health and all kinds of things, right? So what happened is I said, I got everything lined up. I got my car, my apartment, my everything, great job, building another job on the top, like working few companies at the same time. So, and I said, is this is it? As if I finally reach this American dream, is this is what American dream is? So you just have this life, you go out on the weekends, you work out. I'm like, it gotta be more to it. Like, I don't feel fulfilled. So I never gonna forget, I came to my boss one day and I said, I feel I'm not filling my purpose. He looked at me. He's like, you're doing amazing. You're one of the top agents in the company. He's like, you're doing amazing. We need you here. I said, no, 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 you don't understand. There's something isn't right. It's like, I'm not fulfilling my purpose. And he just couldn't really hear me well. And he just, whatever. So I kind of start praying and ask God, universe, I said, please tell me, what do I need to do on this earth? What is my purpose? I'm not clearly doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Even my life looks perfect on a piece of paper. And within 1 year asking God, he actually finally answered me. And it was so loud and clear when I received the phone call. And my mother said that she is actually diagnosed with cancer. And that was the best day in my life. That was the best day in so many other people's lives. And from the moment she said that, I was so excited because I saw this whole vision. Me helping my mom and helping thousands of other people to do the same, which is being healthy and overcoming the cancer.
You basically built yourself back up, first of all, of getting healthy. You took responsibility for your own health. You didn't give the responsibility to the doctors and medications, but did take responsibility and basically healed yourself. And we all can do this for most part. But then you build yourself back up, that you now had a stable job and income. And many people, believe me, that I've talked to, and many of my clients have a great job, great income, but they're not fulfilled. And the next step that you did was asking for help, asking God, the universe, to give you a sign, to give you something. And, here is one thing, what I also believe. Sometimes people think things have to happen immediately, right? Now give me the answer. And if they don't get the answer, then they're disappointed and, it's not for me or whatever. And they go back to their old patterns. But not you. You just kept asking this question. And one day where you had this phone call that was the worst phone call that we can get, that your loved ones, has cancer, but you saw it as an opportunity and say, yes, this is it. And to help your mom and 1,000 others, and you got that vision. So tell us about the vision that you got.
Yeah, absolutely. It was actually so almost bizarre, I would say, because I was clearly it was early morning. It was like 7 in the morning. I was just making my shake to go work out, and And with that being said, my mom, she's telling me I got cancer, and she's like, I have probably 6 months, and they're telling me there's probably spread in my liver, so I have to check my liver also. And as she is speaking, I am literally having like joy and tears of my eyes from joy. And I'm like, Mom, you don't understand. I said, you should be celebrating right now. And she's like, what? And you can literally ask my mom. Until today, she's like, what happened? Why did you react this way? I said, you don't understand, Mom. I said, I was praying and tell God, please, please. And he said, he finally answered my prayers. And she's like, so you want me to die? It's like, no, Mom. I said, you saving lives right now. I was like, what do you mean I'm saving lives? I said, Mom, because of you. I said, first of all, I really don't believe in chemotherapy. I believe in a natural, because natural helped me to overcome life challenging health situations. And I said, Mom, I said, I know there is a cure for cancer. I just never had enough of purpose or any enough of reason to go out there and find that cure. I said, because it happened to you and I love you so much. I said, we're going to overcome the cancer and we're going to teach others to do the same. I said, do you understand how amazing is this day? And
wow. What was her reaction?
she thought I'm walking sleeping because she knew it's early morning in States. So she decided to FaceTime me. And then she saw me being in the kitchen and blending my shakes and everything. So she realized I'm fully awake. And she was a little bit lost. But I think as I asked her today, I said, how do you feel about that phone call? She said, I felt like I was a little bit confused, but I felt immediately balanced. Like immediately. Because when I called you, I was nothing but dying in my mind and I saw my grave. But when I talked to you, you just keep lifting my vibration and I start balancing myself and I'm seeing how things are amazing. Even I really don't believe you yet because I know you're not a doctor. How are you gonna cure my cancer? You know? So it was beautiful, I would say. And I'm never gonna forget because I personally saw this vision. I saw me doing whatever it takes to helping my mom. And then I saw like what's happening in the last 5-6 years. I saw many happy faces, like we hugging, we caring about each other. They're like from tears to the joy, and that's exactly what I've been living. This whole vision came through ideally, just pictures and colors and timing. Everything was perfect.
What did you do from this point on that now is basically your company, your baby, having the hemp company that is different than so many different things on the market? So, it, real quick, lead us through what was the next step that you took.
So the next step was, of course, full focus on my mother. So the same day she called me at 7 in the morning, at 7 p.m., I was already standing in the international airport. So, and since then, I never slept again. Let's just put it that way. Um, that was the journey started. Sometimes I do go 2 days at a time. Sometimes I go day at a time. And I do, in the first year, I worked probably 20, 22, 19 hours on average, 7 days a week. So that being said, I was so obsessed to learn everything about cancer, and I went in deep investigations. I talked to the scientists, to the doctors. I learned everything about chemo, science, biology, history of cancer, and statistics. And then what is the meaning of chemotherapy and what is the meaning of the word? We have a success rate. I didn't know they mean success after you die in 5 years. That's called success rate. And when I learned these little tricks that they tell you, and I learned the cancer has never been killed ever in the history by chemotherapy. And when I learned these things, more learned, I immediately knew I'm not going to do any pharmaceutical route, any. So with that being said, I talked to the doctors, interviewed, and I was connecting with some of them very well-known people. At the same time, some of the people that actually works underground, I would say, kind of trying to stay invisible, but like most genius brains I ever met. So I got blessed, and I spent about 27,000 hours on the research. And today I feel like cancer is my bread and butter for sure, and result speaks itself. But that led me, first I was focusing on my mom and all what it cares to help my mom. And within 4 months she was diagnosed cancer free, no chemo, no radiation.
How did that then translate to now having this beautiful company of yours?
Yeah, so we have actually a few companies. One is like consulting, where we help people transform their health within complete 6 months, and everybody sees results in the first 2 weeks, no matter what kind of condition you have. So with that being said, that led me to have a consulting company and also a product company.
If people now want to get in touch with you, and if people want to get a hold of your product, how can they do that?
First of all, I want to say thank you so much for allowing me to share the message and hopefully empowering people. And that's the most beautiful thing, when people can help each other. And if somebody wants to reach out to me or my team or ask any questions, we have a great customer support on Nesashemp.com, Nesas, Nesashemp.com. And if you reach us customer support with any questions, you're welcome to ask. If somebody purchased the product, I want them to know that everything what I spoke, each bottle, on the bottom we have a number, and that number you can go physically on our site and see in parts per billion what we test these products from. It's every possible toxin has been tested for, every possible. So each bottle provides you most extensive lab results to prove everything what I said is the truth and nothing but the truth.
And I will make sure that I will put all the information in the show notes. Thank you so much for your time. And I know that you will bless so many people on this earth. And God has given you a purpose, and you are right now living this purpose to your full potential. So thank you for saying yes to make this world a better place.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to say thank you to you, the listener. Yes, no matter if you are returning or if this is your first time, you are here. So thank you. And I hope you enjoy the content of this podcast, and it inspires you and motivates you to reach for greater and grander things in your life, because you deserve it. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you have a story or a message that you are eager to share and that you want the rest of the world to know? Well then, contact me. Send me an email, because I have this podcast to podcast great stories and messages. In addition, I am currently working on a book project, and I'm looking for co-authors with grand and great stories and very important messages. So if it's you, then shoot me an email, Sabine@SabineKvenberg.com. And of course, I have my contact information in the show notes. That was my interview. And if you enjoyed it, give us a 5-star review, leave a comment, and share it with your friends. Thanks for listening. Until I see you again, always remember, serve from the heart, follow your passion, and live the life you imagine.